Leafs and the Habs, absolute barn burner to open the season this year. My goodness, let's talk about the game of the week right now, which is starting with obviously the biggest rivalry in the NHL. The Leafs, the Habs, powerhouse team, bottom feeder looking for Bedard. But on this night, the tortoise ends up beating the hare as the Habs win 4-3. There is no shortage of storylines to talk and overreactions to have in the two craziest hockey cities in Canada and maybe the world. So let's go ahead and find out, how did the Habs end up beating the Leafs? Well, here's how. Welcome back to Hot Garbage Sports. Everybody smash subscribe, smash like down below before we get into the Leafs and Habs. Notification bell on for the best in hockey content. We're going to break down all the goals here today. We're going to break down the tactics. The coach's whiteboard is ready to go. Hockey school is in. You don't want to miss it. You want to be here on this channel. And big shout out to our members down below on the coach's staff. If you want to be a part of the coach's staff, hit that join button down below at any time during the season to support Coach Ryan D and Hot Garbage Sports. Bringing up the graphic and the narratives tonight, we know it was a 4-3 win for Montreal, and it was a nail-biter up until the end. Shots ended up being in favor of the Maple Leafs, 32-23, but that doesn't matter. It's only the final score that's counting. When we take a look at where these high danger chances and shots ended up coming from, we go ahead and we bring up the big board here, and we're looking at our home plate. What you see here is a shot counter showing you exactly how dangerous the Maple Leafs were tonight. So Jake Allen does a very good job along with the coaching prowess of Marty St. He is excellent behind that bench. He talks about making the best play, don't just make the safe play, and that definitely pays off for the Habs tonight as they are able to turn away all 32 of those shots, with a majority handling inside that home plate area you see there in red. Montreal is able to make the most of their sparse scoring chances, but once again make the best play, not just the safe play. They weren't just putting pucks on net. They bide their time, they wait, and they take advantage of shots within that home plate area, and they beat Matt Murray 4 times within a very dangerous place. All 4 goals within the home plate area, but not a ton of shots. So great job done by the Leafs defenders keeping those pucks out. But Matt Murray and the Leafs team defense as a whole has to find a way to limit that, because when it's 23 shots and 4 goals on those 23 shots, there really is no excuse. Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas will not be thrilled with this, but Habs fans, Marty St. and newly minted Captain Nick Suzuki will be. Corsi is a very important stat we like to look at. Who had more control of the game? That's simply what Corsi's looking at. 44% for Montreal, 55% for Toronto. So that means Toronto ended up putting 5% more opportunities towards the Montreal Canadiens net than the Montreal Canadiens did towards the Toronto Maple Leafs. Scoring chances were 30-40. A scoring chance doesn't have to be a shot on net. It can be blocked. It can go wide. There's a lot of funny things that can happen in hockey. High danger chances were 13-11, and this is the key stat we talk about in this game. You give up 11 high danger chances out of 23. That is just under 50%. That's not what you want to do if you're the Leafs. 13 high danger chances on 32. That's good defense there by the Montreal Canadiens. Interesting how the shot count can go ahead and flip that narrative when you're taking a look at these chances. Overall, the Leafs theoretically should have won this game by performance on the ice, but that's why we do not play the game on the stat sheet, and that's why we break down goals, which are coming for you in the next couple minutes. Power plays were atrocious for both the teams, 0 for 4, but the penalty kills were on fire. And you know what? Honestly, I don't expect anything different in the opening night in the NHL. It takes a while to get your power play going. You can practice it all you want in preseason, but there is no replication for the real thing, and the pressure, especially playing in the Bell Center in Montreal. Those fans are breathing down on you. They're loud. There's a lot of pressure on the Leafs to go ahead and put those goals in. And I feel the Leafs had the biggest opportunities to win here on the power play. Yes, the Habs had 4, but we all know the firepower for the Leafs is greater than the Habs, as neutrally as I can say that. Goals tonight. Goal Caufield ends up putting into the young superstar along with new line mate, minted captain, #1 center, NHL All-Star, Nick Suzuki. Love that guy. David Savard looking so solid there in the back. Excellent game there from Savard. Kirby Dach makes his debut today. Looks fine. I think he's a really nice player. Good trade there for the Habs. So far, I don't see any game-breaking skill from him right now, but he's a big body that plays down the middle and lines up well with Suzuki, and Dvorak is your 1-2-3 punch. And then finally, the hero of the game, Josh Anderson, puts it home from Nick Suzuki with seconds left on the clock to win it. Goals there for the Leafs: Bunting, Malgin, and Nylander. Who saw Malgin making this roster early in the year? Nick Robertson goes down. He can clear waivers easier. Malgin ends up coming up as a 25-year-old journeyman that played 2 years in the Swiss League. Previous to that was with the Leafs. Previous to that was with Florida, but pencils in for about 11 minutes, well enough in the top 6 here for the Leafs, and that's what has to happen when you have such a cap-heavy and cap-strung team with the big contracts that the Leafs end up having. Tavares and Nylander have... Jesus, man. It's a brand new season. Nylander's not in the league anymore. He doesn't play for Vancouver. It's Nylander. You're never going to get this out of your vocabulary. It's been 3 years. Continue on. Excellent games tonight. I thought they looked very good. Morgan Riley, not a bad game. Definitely the biggest stud back there. We're going to go ahead and break down some of that ice time. And TJ Brody pulls in an assist tonight as well, too. Goal numero uno ends up coming here for Toronto. The big thing to take a look when you're watching here is you got to watch how you switch in the zone. So when we're taking a look, it's actually Gooley that ends up getting lost. What you want to see is you want to see your supporting center cutting across center ice like this. Then you want to take a look at Gooley, who is right here. He's going to be taking a look at Mr. Auston Matthews, and Gooley needs to make sure he bumps over here as well. He can't stick with Matthews. He's going to have to move over to the corner here, but he doesn't. He ends up sticking with Matthews, and then you have to have one of these two guys watching Mr. Matthews in the slot. No matter what, yes, they've got to cut across the ice, and they have to go ahead and they have to find those defensemen here up top. But when you take a look at this switch, it really ends up being a centerman, or it really ends up being a winger, I should say, that gets lost with the defenseman. So when we move forward, keep your eye on Gooley here. He takes a quick look over there at Auston Matthews, and he has to end up going up and stepping into that spot. That is going to force Josh Anderson over here to go to the corner to actually play D1, while Gooley has to switch to F3 at this point. That's defenseman 1, forward 1. As he ends up moving into the corner, you'll see Anderson does a really nice job, sticks in the right part of the lane. This is where you want it to be. You want it to be down here facing this way. Mitch Marner is just going to pivot backwards behind this net here in order to make the play. Unfortunately, what ends up happening is Gooley needs to come down here, and he needs to be your support player. So your support player needs to be somewhere in this area supporting D1. So if you have D1 on the puck, you need to have F1 down here with him. And even though he's a defenseman, he's now playing that F1 spot. Because we have no puck support, we see Mitch Marner make that absolutely beautiful move. He threatens to cut to the middle. Really nice job by Josh Anderson, not allowing him to cut towards the net. But what ends up happening right now is now you can see all of our two players up here. They're lost. They're in no man's land. There's an entire space around here that's going to end up open, and Marner's going to end up beating it. And this is all because Gooley wasn't sure where to go playing the F1 position. He's used to playing that D1 position. So Gooley ends up getting lost. He carries in behind the net. Everybody clusters over to here. And unfortunately, all that's going to happen is that puck is going to bounce out in front. And that is the most difficult save for a goalie to make. If you're new to this channel, I talk about this all the time. Anything going from south to north like this is a very high percentage scoring chance. It's actually near 30%. Savard with an absolutely beautiful stick on puck here. As this puck ends up getting thrown out, you'll see we call this stick on puck. He's in perfect position right here in front of the net. Not only does he have his man, but he's aware of the puck. This is going to allow him to bump it forward, and it's going to allow the Habs to do what the Habs do really, really well here, which is fast break. So it ends up moving up to the two Habs forwards, and we're off to the races because we have 4 Toronto Maple Leafs caught behind the play. Now you'll notice here when we get into a 2-on-1 scenario, the defenseman is trying to keep them in the middle. So we know as the defender backs up, he wants to go ahead and take this middle path away. That pass needs to stop. What you need to do here as a defender is very simple. You need to allow the shot. You cannot allow this puck to go across the Royal Road. The Royal Road is very simple. It is just a line that we draw down the middle of the ice. Any puck that crosses this road also has a 30% chance to score. Just like we talked about last time going south to north, this is the second or most dangerous shot in hockey. So what do we end up doing here? We end up laying down. You know, if you've been on this channel, I hate the lay down. rebound because you are strapped. There's nothing you can do. What I would prefer to see my defenseman do is commit over to the pass and allow that shot to come through. Unfortunately, when you're playing a 2-on-1, you just got to make a decision. That decision doesn't end up working out. Beautiful cross-ice pass across that Royal Road. And that Royal Road is so deadly because Matt Murray has to cover a 180-degree push here from post to post. That's going to leave a lot of net exposed. This is an absolutely beautiful goal here by Caufield. I mean, you're just a sniper like that's going to put it in every time. 1-1 game. Malgin, Tavares, Nylander goal. This is a beautiful goal. This is hockey 101. This is coaching 101. What you're going to end up seeing is you want to have one player driving wide. Your second player as the puck needs to absolutely drive the mid lane, and your third player needs to go in, and he can choose to stay high or low as you're playing this 3-on-1. There's nothing spectacular about this zone entry. You practice this 100 times. Tavares ends up entering the zone in the middle. All he's going to do is end up bumping out right. So he's going to use all of this gap, bump it out right, and then he's immediately going to drive that mid lane because that is going to push both of these defenders backwards. That's going to create time, space, and gap. And all you see here is Malgin just driving the net as well too. Nothing wrong with that. That is a very simple play. That's how you get goals. This is why coaches love it. So Malgin drives the net. You drive that mid lane again, and the mid lane is called splitting the defenseman. So you have to go through both defensemen, which is exactly what Tavares does. Malgin's gotten behind, and all you're going to see is just a very simple shot on net. Jake Allen can't handle the rebound. Tavares is the first one on it, and that's probably the easiest goal you're going to get. Welcome to the Maple Leafs, Malgin. Things are looking really good here on this zone entry. That puck ends up bumping out over here to Michael Bunting. Michael Bunting's going to take this puck down low, and then he's going to do a drop pass back to Auston Matthews. This is not a good drop pass by Michael Bunting. It's an absolutely terrible decision causing a turnover here. You have to notice when you have time and space. So I don't think these players are talking here at this moment in time. You're going to see him drop it, and drop passes are actually just supposed to be leave it. You're not supposed to cycle it behind you. When you cycle it behind you, bad things happen. You actually just want to leave the puck and allow your player to skate into it, which is obviously not a good play right now because you have two Montreal Canadiens in your way. So unfortunately, this bad decision is an easy turnover here for the Habs. It catches all three players off guard here from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they're off to the races on a 3-on-2. It's Cole Caufield again. This is a really nice job here done by Toronto. You have one player, two players. Yep, you need one more stride to get in front of him here, but you've turned a 3-on-2 into a 3-on-3 here at this point. That is going to force Caufield to come in, and he is going to be looking for short side goals. This has to be Matt Murray. There's too much daylight here right now. In my opinion, Murray is actually cheating over too much. He's too worried about the pass that's going to go left to right, and that's what actually ends up causing this goal and causing Matt Murray to go down 2-2. This is a beautiful shot. Too much daylight. Come out of your net more. Don't worry about the cross-ice pass. You got to take the shot there. Sean Monahan's goal. Jake Muzzin having a brutal night. Take a look down here in this box. This is a 3-on-1. You can't lose this if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, but amazing job here done by Montreal to be able to win these puck battles down low. 3-on-1 again. You have all the puck support, everything you need in the world to make this happen, but you end up losing, and this is how goals come in. This is just a beautiful, hardworking goal. It's everything you want to see here. You end up moving it up here to the point, and then it's just a simple shot on net, but unfortunately for Muzzin, this is just, he's unable to clear it. It's a bad bounce. We could say it's not Muzzin's fault, but at the end of the day, Muzzin had a really tough game tonight. And then the other challenge is nobody is watching for the backdoor players that are going to end up sneaking in here. Birthday Boy ends up putting it in for Montreal. It is an absolutely lovely goal. Just a quick shot here on net that hits a skate. Muzzin's out muscled. He ends up eating it. Monahan backdoors. Nothing Matt Murray can do on that. That one is not on the goalie at all. That one is on the Leafs defenders. They had a million potential chances to get that out of the zone. They don't. Great job there by Montreal. Beautiful goal by Monahan. The goal that ends up tying the game here by Nylander and Tavares. You can see this is a bit of a turnover here. And you know what? There is some gripes to call this one a penalty. I wouldn't have called it a penalty, but I can see where some fans may look at this and look at this slash on the stick. The difference is he doesn't end up hitting the gloves. The gloves are here. The stick is down here. Is that illegal play in hockey? Not by the rule book, but we don't call the rules. We call an interpretation of the rules. So he doesn't end up hitting the hands. And because he doesn't end up hitting the hands, you can see that little stick tap is enough to move that puck off of his stick and create that turnover. He doesn't end up taking it down. It's just enough to get the puck off the stick. And once that happens, it's a turnover. It looks very similar to that previous Montreal goal we had here. And they are off to the races. Tavares, Nylander, this is a simple 2-on-1. I don't mind this by the defender. I think this is a fine job. If you're going to go ahead and take something, pick one or pick the other. Don't just lay down in the middle. Don't be a post turtle. What's a post turtle? Very simple. They don't know how they got on the post. They don't know why they're on the post. They can't get themselves off the post. They're useless. This is not a useless play. You go ahead, you take that pass, you push it, and you allow your goalie his best opportunity to make some kind of save. I always like taking the pass more than I like taking the shooter, but he doesn't, and unfortunately that puck gets through. We talk again and again about that Royal Road. There it is. Any puck that crosses that line left to right is going to be a 30% chance to go in the net. This one is in that 30% range as Willie Nylander ends up putting it in. At this point in time, St. Louis got an amazing chance to challenge this. He doesn't. I commend him for doing it. Yes, he won the game. People would have been looking for his head if he didn't. I agree with this. It's too close to call. Yes, it looks obvious, but at the end of the day, if you don't get those offsides correct, you're in the box, you're down. That least power play, although not deadly tonight, can be deadly later. So great call there by St. Louis, not challenging. Simple play here that ends up getting thrown into Jake Muzzin. I mean, this is a veteran defender. Your puck is simple. It's just sitting right here. It hits him. This is going to hurt a little bit. It might not have hit the pad, but all you have to do at this point in time is either put it into your own corner or you need to find an outlet pass. You just need to make a better decision with the puck than what is made here at this point in time. But we end up taking a look. He drops it. He's got all the time in the world to corral this. There's no real pressure at this point in time. And you've heard me say it before. Anytime we get these big reaches, this butt out, this is not a good sign. Why? Because it means your feet aren't moving. If you're new to this channel, why is it feet, head, hands? Because you need to be moving before you make any play with the puck and he gets caught flat-footed. Even before you use this old hat rack, you need to move your feet. So we talk to players all the time, move your feet, then use your head to look around and see what play you can make the best play, like St. Louis says, and then use your hands, pass, shoot, or stick handle. In that order, it can happen in a fraction in a second, but if you get caught flat-footed there like Muzzin did, it's not going to be good for you. So the flat-footed Muzzin ends up putting it out here and they feed it over to Josh Anderson. And we've been talking about the Royal Road all night. Well, that puck crosses that Royal Road again. Even that slight angle change is enough to cause a problem here for Matt Murray. He has to make way too big of an adjustment because of that Royal Road. And then it is just a beautiful shot here by Josh Anderson from Suzuki in order to win that game. I mean, just snipes it top corner. So we're only one game in. Habs fans already got the parade route ready. No, they don't, but it feels like that high pressure cooker in Montreal. Toronto is calling for Dubas's head next morning. The rational fans are going, we've got 81 games left, lots of hockey left to play, but what a great opening night for these two Canadian teams. Hey, thank you for being here. Why don't you go ahead, check out a couple of our other videos here as well, ranking where we think these teams are going to finish by the end of the season, and go ahead and giggle because one of these videos may have the Leafs in the top 3. And after tonight's performance, maybe I have to reevaluate my ability to rank teams.